Greetings, everyone.
Not many people know that while the famous Voyager 1 satellite took nearly 30 years to exit the solar system, covering tens of billions of kilometers, humanity has spent about the same amount of time penetrating just 12 kilometers into the Earth's surface. The world beneath our feet is one of the greatest mysteries humankind wants to uncover, yet it remains incredibly difficult to explore. The idea of an underground dinosaur kingdom, like in the Doraemon legend, or a subterranean world like in the sci-fi film Journey to the Center of the Earth by director Eric Breivik, may not be too far-fetched. It's not wrong when people say that humanity knows more about distant galaxies than it does about the ground directly beneath our feet. The project in question is known as the Kola Super Deep Borehole, launched in 1970 to uncover some of the Earth's hidden underground secrets. It is located 10 kilometers north of the town of Zapolyarny, in Murmansk Oblast, which is now part of the Russian Federation. The road to the site is in terrible condition, requiring a powerful off-road vehicle. For the determined, veteran drivers associations have recommended the legendary Yuz, a rugged vehicle known for enduring decades of harsh terrain and potholes across Indochina. But first, let's go back to the mid-20th century. While the US and the Soviet Union were fiercely competing in the space race, another lesser-known race was taking place between the best drilling experts of the two nations.
In the late 1950s and early 1960s, both Americans and Soviets began planning efforts to drill as deep as possible into the Earth's crust.
One earlier American initiative, called the Mohole Project, began in 1958. It was initially funded by the National Science Foundation with the ambition of reaching the boundary between the Earth's crust and mantle by drilling off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Through this approach, they hoped to obtain valuable information about the Earth's age, internal structure, and plate tectonics. However, due to lack of funding, the project was abandoned in 1966, with its deepest hole reaching only 601 feet, around 183 meters, beneath the seafloor. The Soviets had greater ambitions. They wanted to become the first nation to reach the center of the Earth. Historically, drilling machines rotated the entire drill pipe to grind through the bedrock, but this method caused significant inaccuracies. To improve this, Soviet engineers invented an entirely new type of drill bit. Before beginning, they calculated that the desired depth would require pipes weighing over 450 tons. It was impossible to generate enough torque to spin such a heavy pipe fast enough to cut through kilometers of granite rock. So in 1969, the Soviets developed a new drilling technology. It worked by pumping high-pressure drilling mud down the pipe, which was then forced through a turbine at the drill bit, spinning it at up to 80 revolutions per minute. This bit worked effectively, and the system is now widely used in modern oil wells. The Kola Super Deep Borehole, often dubbed by the public as the Gateway to Hell, was the Soviet Union's first major step in a grand ambition, launched in May 1970. Rather than a single hole, the borehole consisted of a main shaft with several branching holes. The Soviets used two drilling rigs during the project, the Euromash 4E and the Euromash 15,000. The previous record for drilling depth was held by the Americans, who drilled the Bertha Rogers well in Oklahoma to 9.6 kilometers in 1974 after abandoning the Gulf of Mexico project. For comparison, Mount Everest stands at just under 8.9 kilometers high. By 1981, the Kola project's 23 centimeters wide borehole had broken all existing world records, reaching 10.91 kilometers, nearly as deep as the Mariana Trench, the deepest natural point on Earth. By 1983, the drilling had reached a depth of 11.9 kilometers, before operations were paused in 1984. During the pause, Soviet scientists and politicians visited the site, which led to widespread public attention. Researchers developed tools to perform physical and biochemical analysis on the rock samples they had collected. The project yielded a massive amount of geological data, allowing scientists to directly observe Earth's crust structure and uncover many previously unknown details. One of the most surprising findings was that there was no transition from granite to basalt between 3 to 6 kilometers depth, as geological theory had predicted.
Although seismic discontinuities are detected beneath most continents, the Kola borehole never encountered the expected basalt layer. Instead, granite continued even beyond 12 kilometers depth. Studying the rock samples from Kola, scientists also found evidence of biological activity in rocks over 2 billion years old at depths of 6 kilometers. The most compelling evidence of life,
25 species of microscopic plankton fossils, encased in organic compounds, astonishingly well preserved. At a depth of around 3,000 meters, the temperature rose much faster than expected, reaching 180 degrees Celsius at the bottom of the hole, a significant difference from the initially predicted 100 degrees Celsius.
Another surprise, rock density began to drop at about 4,500 meters deep.
Beyond this depth, the rock was more porous and permeable. Combined with the high temperature, the rock began to behave more like a plastic material than a solid, making further drilling nearly impossible. Researchers also discovered water at a depth of 12 kilometers, something previously thought to be completely impossible. Hot mineral water was found throughout the drilling path. Unfortunately for the Soviet Union, things were going smoothly until 1989, when the borehole reached a depth of 12,262 meters. At that point, the extreme temperature of 180 degrees Celsius rendered the drill bits inoperable. The drill team could no longer proceed toward the expected 15,000 meters target, and had to register an account on the website bodoti.com. While technical issues can often be solved, the most troubling part of the entire project was that Soviet scientists repeatedly encountered bizarre and unexplained phenomena deep underground. Many times during the drilling, the drill bits began spinning uncontrollably, as if a mysterious force was guiding them. Even more terrifying, a series of haunting sounds emerged from deep within the earth. A former project member, who remained anonymous, recounted how they lowered a microphone into the borehole to record the sounds of underground movement. What they heard were horrifying screams, frightening and grotesque. The faint of heart were utterly terrified. Believing the sounds might be interference, the experts lowered the mic deeper only to hear the screams more clearly. These weren't the screams of just one person, they were the screams of many, many people. Some speculated they were the tortured cries of cursed souls. Numerous workers abandoned the project, shaken by psychological trauma and extreme confusion. There are those who believe that the borehole punctured the underworld, connecting mysterious, unexplained forces with humanity. Locals in the area claim the hole is so deep you can hear the tortured screams of those being punished in hell. To this day, the eerie, chilling sounds from the borehole serve as a reminder that there are still things science cannot explain. What is spoken of in myths, legends, or religions may not necessarily be right or wrong, perhaps we simply don't have the ability to understand them yet. This leaves the door open for wild theories about what's been described in various beliefs and cultures around the world. After drilling stopped in 1989, the workers left and never returned to complete the mission. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, and by 2005, authorities had officially cancelled the project. In 2008, they dismantled the drilling rig in nearby buildings. Today, the top of the Kola borehole is sealed with a 23 cm wide rusty metal cap, which is welded shut. Even more strangely, the number engraved on the cap is incorrect, reading 12,226 meters instead of the actual 12,262 meters. Some speculate this may be due to dark or ritualistic reasons. Regardless, the well to hell remains a symbol of pride for the Soviet Union and Russia, marking a milestone in human scientific exploration. After this, other major powers attempted similar projects to get even closer to Earth's core. In 1990, Germany joined the race, drilling in Bavaria. Their geologists reached 9.1 kilometers, but could go no further as their drill bits couldn't handle 265 degrees Celsius, even hotter than Kola. In 2002, Japan launched the Chikyu Haken project. Conducted aboard the Chikyu research vessel, it was co-funded by Europe, China, South Korea, India, Australia, and New Zealand. One of its main goals was to understand the causes of earthquakes. However, by last year, Japan had to give up after drilling to just 3.2 kilometers. For over 6 months, they made no further progress. A project member admitted that the entire period felt like a never-ending nightmare. In 2015, scientists hoped to reach the mantle layer by drilling from the Indian Ocean floor using the JOIDE ship. Since the Earth's crust is thinner there, they only needed to drill about 1.2 kilometers to reach the mantle. However, thinner crust means deeper ocean, making drilling harder. The result, another failure. In 2018, a British company named Geothermal Engineering Ltd, GL, drilled 2 deep holes underground, aiming to harness geothermal energy to generate electricity. After more than a year, they reached around 4.8 kilometers, but still failed to break the Soviet record.
Despite never reaching their original goal, the Kola borehole demonstrated the limits of human exploration.
To this day, the Kola borehole remains the deepest hole ever drilled on land.
However, its depth has been surpassed at sea.
In 2008, Qatar drilled 12,289 into the Al Shaheen oil field. In 2011, the Sakhalin-1 project drilled 12,376 into the sea near Sakhalin Island, Russia. As for geologists of the night, if anyone has discovered a deeper hole than the well to hell, please share it with the online community so we can all be enlightened. If you found this video useful, give it a like and share it. On your screen now are other fascinating videos for you to enjoy. Click one and keep the fun going.
Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.